Okay, you guys, welcome back. This is the JEB and Flow podcast on the Street Parking Podcast channel. Thank you guys for tuning in, for paying attention, for showing up, and for all of your curiosity and wonder. So, this week, in the spirit of the Choose Your Own Adventure Challenge, I thought it would be fun to talk a little bit about the mindset for success. The mindset that is required for success, to feel successful, to be successful. There are a lot of people doing this Choose Your Own Adventure Fitness Nutrition Challenge right now. But even if you're not doing that challenge, don't worry. You'll still get something out of this. And maybe this will inspire you to jump into the next challenge, because we do have like a few of them, several of them throughout the year. They're all different. They're all cool in their own way. I like this one a lot. I also like Jacked by June, because you get to get jacked before June, which is always nice. And even better, we just want to stay jacked, right? Consistency, more than nothing. But if you do need that extra little push, a challenge is always a great opportunity to discover a feeling of success. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I thought I came across this quote that was really great. It's from Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor long time ago. And he was like a Stoic philosopher. Stoicism, I think, they just have the best quotes. Anyways, he says, if you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them. And it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now. Basically, if you're letting yourself get annoyed by things that are outside of your control, those things are not the problem. It's your attitude towards those things. So, how does that relate to the mindset of success? Well, let's get into it. I think in discovering success, figuring out what kind of an attitude we need to have to achieve a certain goal that allows us to feel successful, well, first thing we need to do is understand what is success. Well, I don't know. You tell me. That's not for me to decide. I know what success is for me. I know what it means to me, but it may not be the same thing for you. Pardon me. So, there's some people that might walk around and think that every day above ground is a successful day. And there's certainly other people out there that have a certain metric, like, I need to have this much wealth, I need to have this title, I need to have this car, I need to look this way, I need to weigh this much, and when I do, I will be successful. Not for me right now to judge if one of those is better than the other, what's right, what's wrong. What's more important is that you have your own definition of success. Do not use someone else's definition of success. Think about what it is for you. what needs to happen in order for you to feel successful. And if we start there, then we have sort of a idea of where we're going. And that's an idea that we chose, not what somebody else chose for us, not what social media decides that we should do, not what our cultural norms and values tell us that we should be doing. You. So, success is a funny thing. Like, to feel successful, usually it has to do with perseverance in the face of adversity. We all love the story. I mean, it's basically like the same story gets made over and over and over again and written about, where somebody comes from humble beginnings and they overcome all these obstacles and then they are triumphant at the end. The peasant guy slays the dragon and becomes a knight and gets the princess or whatever. So that story's been around for a long time, right? And we love those stories. We love those stories of people overcoming, beating the odds, emerging victorious, because it feels good. It feels good to overcome. And that's why we challenge ourselves. So, if it's not challenging, it's not as fun. We get bored very easily. And we want to stay out of that fixed mindset. You know, it's like if I go on YouTube and I look up a tutorial on how to solve a Rubik's Cube in 2 minutes, and I watch somebody and then they show me how to do it, and then I learn how to do it, and then now I have this party trick, and we have this idea that if somebody can solve a Rubik's Cube, then they are smart. So then we just keep solving the Rubik's Cube over and over and over again, telling ourselves, oh, I'm smart, look at me, I'm smart, I can do the Rubik's Cube. No, you went on YouTube and you learned a party trick, you know? Not saying for anyone out there that figured out the Rubik's Cube that you're not smart, but fixed mindsets are very, very dangerous. So when it comes to challenges, the other thing is that in that story of the hero, you know, the hero's journey, they go through a metamorphosis throughout the story. Not only did they emerge victorious, but they also grow as a person. They become something bigger than they were. So another great thing about challenges is that it gives us an opportunity to learn about ourselves. So we get to feel good, we get to feel successful, but we also get to grow, become a more complex, a more dynamic person. If we're successful in this challenge, we build confidence, we feel better about ourselves. Those are all really good things. So now it comes back to, what is your definition of success? That's definition of success, what that is required for you to feel like you have beaten the odds, that you have overcome the challenge. It has to be appropriate. It has to be realistic. It has to be right. If we pick something that is not challenging enough, if we pick something that's really, really easy, then and it's like a longer term thing, right? So if this is a 5-week challenge that we're doing. So if what we need to do to be successful for a 5-week long challenge is eat 1 carrot every day, well, that's pretty easy to do. You could eat one carrot. Let's say it's a baby carrot. You got to eat one baby carrot every day for 5 weeks. That's 35 days, 35 baby carrots. Easy. You could do it. You're not going to feel like you did anything at the end of the 35 days. And chances are you're not going to not eat the 35 baby carrots because it's hard. You would just get bored. That challenge would be hard because it's too easy. Now, if you've never eaten baby carrots ever in your life, then maybe it is a little bit more difficult. But I imagine that that's a fairly easy challenge for most of us out there. Conversely, if you decide that on this challenge, you are going to get the street parking template and you are going to follow it to a T, and you are going to hit every single one of the workouts. Not only that, you're going to hit them all RX plus, and you're going to be at the top of the leaderboard that nobody looks or cares about. And you're going to lose 40 pounds in 35 days. You know, and if you don't do, then that's your definition of success. That's what you need to do in order to succeed at this challenge. Well, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're all but guaranteeing failure. And when we fail at the challenge, a couple of things can happen. Either we do it with a really valiant effort, and we know that we tried our best, and we know that what we were trying to accomplish was realistic, and even if we missed the mark, we still learned something and we still grew. But if the level of the challenge is just so ridiculously unrealistic, it's hard to learn anything from that. It's impossible to succeed at that, and it backfires. It has the effect of being discouraging, making us want to give up, putting us in a habit of giving up, and it gets harder and harder and harder to start again or to get consistent. So the level of the challenge, the level of difficulty, the level of complexity needs to be right. What happens a lot of times in these fitness and nutrition challenges is, you know, people will sign up for them that they used to be someone that worked out 6 times a week and they were crushing it. And then maybe they moved, got a different job, got really busy. Maybe they got hurt or something. They got out of it, and then they've been struggling with consistency. And so now this challenge is a really good opportunity to get back into things, to kickstart the fitness. It's the beginning of the year, right? We're getting back on track. So maybe at some point in your athletic or health history, you would have been able to accomplish some really impressive, really difficult, really kind of high-level things. But that was not right now. That was sometime in the past. And our mind can still remember that. Our mind can still go to that. So we might think, hey, I used to be able to do this. So that's going to be what my goal is for this challenge. And that, again, is a recipe for a disaster because we're starting from a different place. We are in a different place. So I like to think about pick a couple of things. Let's see if I can. If you are doing something for the first time, and using this challenge as an example, if you are new to street parking, if you are new to paying closer attention to the foods that you eat, if you're new to consistently working out, and you're not sure if you're going to be able to stick with it, and so you decide you're going to do this 5-week long challenge, because there's a little extra accountability there. There's a lot of other people doing it. And those are all really good reasons to get involved. My suggestion would be to pick a definition of success for this challenge that it would be impossible for you to fail. Now, that's not to say that it should be so easy that you get bored and you give up. You still got to do a little bit of work. But think of something that, like, if I can just do something each day, depending on whatever track I chose for the challenge, or maybe you're doing your own separate challenge, rather than, hey, I'm going to work out as hard as I possibly can 6 days in a row, and I'm going to just go from eating terribly to eating every single thing on this template. No. Forget about the points. Forget about the shirt. I hope nobody's doing a challenge just so that they can get a shirt for it. It should go deeper than that. But rather than worrying about those things, just do something every day. Do something that keeps you connected to your goal. Do something that keeps you connected to the path that you're on. And after the first few days, you can add in another thing. And then after a few days after that, you add in another thing. And maybe after a couple of weeks, all of a sudden, you are starting to not just eat more quality foods, but you're looking at the amounts of those foods that you're eating. And after a couple of weeks, rather than just, walking outside and not setting the clock and not worrying about the time and not worrying about weight and not worrying about anything other than just moving your body for a little bit, well, maybe after a couple of weeks, you might start to move a little bit faster. Maybe after a couple of weeks, you might look at the goal time and try to choose an appropriate load that helps you get to that goal time. And maybe after a couple of weeks, you start to feel more comfortable with a higher level of intensity. That's all it is. Make it impossible for you to fail. That doesn't mean it's going to stay easy. Just start easy. Start easy. Make it impossible for you to not keep going. How about that? Make it impossible for you to not keep going. And the further you keep going, the more complex, the more difficult, the more challenging you can make it. By the end, you will have overcome some pretty cool stuff. Now, on the other hand, if you've been doing this for a while, if you've been a member for a while, if you've done a bunch of fitness nutrition challenges in the past, then you've got to define success in a way that there's a little bit more riding on it. That you have to work a little bit harder than you currently are right now in order for this challenge to be meaningful for you. And in studies of motivation and things like that, what they found is that the level of arousal that keeps athletes focused in a competition, or the level of arousal that is required to keep somebody engaged in a task or on a project, especially in a competitive setting, but could really be in a lot of different settings, is one that has a probability of success of about 50%. So there's a 50% chance that you're going to be successful and a 50% chance that you are not, that you might come up a little short. That is going to be an appropriate level of arousal that's going to keep you motivated, that's going to keep you on track, that's going to keep you going towards that goal, knowing that like there's a chance that if I don't really focus on this, if I don't really show up consistently, if I don't really just keep in mind what my definition of success is and keep that at the front of my mind, there's so much noise going on right now in the office. I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but it threw me off track a little bit. Anyways, if there's a 50-50 chance that you're going to make it or not make it, it's going to push you harder to make it. And what's also really cool about that is that even if you don't, even if you've chosen sort of a definition of what is going to make you successful or not successful on this challenge, one that's high enough that there's a 50% chance that you might not make it, if you don't make it, you're going to feel okay about it. You're going to have learned something. You're going to walk away with it with some new knowledge, with some better understanding of yourself, which, honestly, I don't know about you, but that sounds like success to me. So it kind of comes back to impossible to fail. You can define success in terms of these numbers and things like that. And as long as they are realistic to the point where there's a 50% chance that you're going to hit them, even if you don't, you still win. So that's the mindset for success, right? Define success for yourself. Make it your own. Take little tiny steps to get the ball rolling. Steps that are so easy to do that it's impossible to not keep going. And no matter what, think about what it is that you are taking away from the experience. And that's really the action item for the week. Would be to define success for yourself relevant to a specific goal. So if you're doing the CYOA challenge, then define what is going to help you feel successful in that challenge. If it's some other goal that you have, define what success means for you. Or if you don't have a goal, think about what is it that is going to make you feel successful in a certain area, health, fitness, otherwise. And then write down what needs to happen. If this is what success is to me, what needs to happen for me to get there? What needs to happen for me to feel that sense of success? The next step is to take the first step. Take one step on that path towards that success. That one step, that first step, celebrate that step as a victory. You don't have to wait till the very end to be victorious. The fact that you are taking the first step towards it, celebrate that stuff. And I guarantee you it's going to make it a lot easier to take the next step, and then the next step, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one, right? Set yourself up so that it's impossible to not keep going. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys have a really great week. Love you, and I will talk to you soon.